And we are back here on the Rift for game number 2. Of course, it is going to be 3Lanes Esports on that red side with Invulnerables now coming out onto the blue side with what we identified as a little bit of the same but drastically different compositions on both sides. And this time as well, no invades coming out from either side.
Yeah, and for the side here of Invulnerables, they don't want to invade. They've got a very, very late game composition here. You've got the Vayne, you've got the kill, you've got skilling on your side. You do not have the early levels. So you definitely don't want to fight this. You just want to stay safe. And a good award, actually, coming up from Boundless. They will get a bit of poke down on to Scripter here. And so for Invulnerables, they're just looking to skill. And that's pretty much the name of the game, as well as their series here. They don't want to give anything else up. They've already lost that winning streak they had. They've put lie to their name Invulnerables. They have shown a little bit of weakness. So this game, they just want to turtle up, play defensively, get to the point where they can really just dominate in these team fights. And for 3Lanes Esports, it's going to be the opposite. They've played so aggressively, so well in their last couple of series, and they're looking to do more of that. And with Nigerian Star on Shyvana and Cutie on Lucian, it feels like they've set themselves up for that well.
They definitely set themselves up for success in these lane matchups. It's straight back to comfort and power, as we do see same side starts and a ping out onto that blue buff on Scrudy, as it seems that Boundless and Lagon are already starting that game of where's the jungler.
Yeah, and for the side of 3Lanes Esports here, they are the ones who want to be aggressive. So Invulnerables have to be the ones tracking where Nigerian Star is on this Shyvana a little bit. That being said, the early gang's not going to be quite as potent until Nigerian Star gets a couple of items here, but the lanes are the strong ones here. Zolasi on this Yorick is expected to absolutely dominate the top. Cutie on this Lucian. He's very comfortable with that matchup into the Orianna. Has to face it quite a lot here. So they're expected to win. In bot lane, normally Ezreal kind of forfeits a lane, and Vayne actually does pretty well into the Ezreal, kind of, except that Lagan on this Karma has established dominance. For the last 3 weeks here, Lagan's Karma just runs the lane, and I don't expect this game to be any different into that Lulu Vayne combination coming up with Vulnerables.
Yeah. No one puts any stock into the support until the support literally forces you to concede lane. Lagan still dancing off on the side. But this time, again, Scripter and Wixu definitely have a little bit of help, as we do see Cutie jumping into the jungle and is now going to get collapsed on Loftition, finding out that his laner has rotated through. That is going to be a little bit of raw damage coming through between the mid laners, as Scrudy did take an ignite to the face, so gonna have a little bit of a rough time moving through the rest of the jungle.
I want to point out there that Loftition coming in, that should have been a 2v1, and even then, you can see they don't want to pull the trigger, but they will pull it now, and Nigerian Star's on the side.
Yep, Cutie has to flash away. Nigerian Star full health, double buffed up in that mid lane. Gonna poke out Loftition, but again, damage hasn't done. Cutie loses both summoners and gains nothing for it.
And Cutie is running the ignite, not the teleport as well, so will not be able to get back into lane immediately. Though the wave is in a fairly good spot, isn't going to lose too much off this back here, and only the longsword coming out, so not a huge advantage, or not a beneficial back timing for Cutie, but not the worst of things either. We'll still continue to have that lane pressure onto that Orianna for a while yet, until we really see that Ludens come through there for Loftition. We're not likely to see a ton of kill pressure, especially when Loftition opted for the teleport and not an ignite.
Yeah, and finally we're seeing Scrudy be the one to advance as much as he can, and he actually gets the pull back. Not enough to actually lay down any real danger, but still drops Zolazi to about half health. And again, Scrudy getting the first 2 ganks of the game, drastically different than game number 1.
And that's actually a really solid start here from Invulnerables. They don't need the kills. All they need is a bit of lane pressure to try and balance things out there. Fyrax is doing pretty well, actually, or was doing kind of decently in that top lane a little bit before decided to back here and lose out a bunch of minions mid lane as well. Forcing Cutie back, buys Loftition time to scale as well. And I want to point out that Wixu's been doing a great job with these shields. Has negated the bulk of that poke from Lagan, and has is burning down the mana from both Boundless and Lagan here, and they just want to keep scaling as well. Vayne will outscale that Ezreal here throughout majority of the phases of the game. A Rage Blade, first item rush from that Vayne is not a bad thing. You don't have to rush that mythic item first here. Mythic item second is just as good.
Mythic second indeed, as Scripter and Barrel actually take an early back 43 CS to Scripter's name. Gonna pick up that quiver for himself. Gonna be farming up pretty well. Realizes that this bot lane, as long as they suppress the early Mystic shots, they can farm relatively well, and it looks like the Vayne is gonna get into the mid game in good standing.
For sure here. And one thing about the Noon Quiver as well, it's not great in fights. It's usually known to be good in lanes, but it's also good for actually taking objectives. But it is instead going to be 3 lanes starting this up, and Scrooty does get vision down. It is running low. Are we going to see the drive-by?
Might try, and actually just jumps right in. Scrooty says, hey, yo, game number 2 coming for us. Slams 2 people together, and now the entire team is here. Scripter actually dancing directly in the middle. That's going to be the passive pop. Scripter flashing over the wall into the Baron Dragon Pit. Is going to be taken very, very low, but the trade back and forth means first blood goes to Loftician. He is going to keep following as the jump back in as Scrooty says he wants to fight. Slams 2 people together. Lagan is going to be dropped down to about 50 HP. He's going to get out with his life, but that is a dragon stolen and 2 dead, as Loftician might actually fall as well. Boundless still about 75% HP, so he's going to keep throwing out Mystic shots like his life depends on it. Scrooty looking for another jump. Over the wall goes Boundless, but he gets knocked up once again. Not going to be a kill, I don't think. But the ball comes through, and one more. He wants it. Here it is. Barrel with the flash Q. Nails 3 as 3Lanes Esports loses out heavily. The culling coming through as Cutie tries to get some retribution.
That was great play from Invulnerables. These are the mechanics that we're more expecting in game 1 here. They know how to be clutch in these team fights. And I want to point out that Scrooty should have been dead to rights. He jumped in. He had no way out. They killed him, but they did not finish the bloblets. And Scripter just distracted everyone and lived for so long. Nigerians are actually at the flash in to pick up that kill. And that cost them quite a bit. Ultimately, a 3-for-1, and they lose Ocean Drake. For a team that wants to scale, Ocean Drake in the laning phase is so good for them. And Invulnerable is now in a really solid position. Wixu picking up the 2 kills. Normally that's a little bit rough, but I feel like this bot lane is a lot about the supports, and Wixu earned those 2 kills in that fight. And with those kills under their belt, should be able to let Scripter scale up that much safer here in the bot lane.
And not only that, keep in mind that was a fight without ultimates. They won that pretty handedly. Without the shockwave, without the final hour, without the wild growth, and they picked up 3 and a dragon. I mean, right now it already seems Invulnerables are on their way to become this powerhouse in the next 10 minutes, and I can't wait to see them actually take over this game.
Yeah, and it bodes so well for them. If you're already this strong here, when you're pretty balanced, when you're pretty even, when you skill up naturally here, just imagine what they can do in these team fights. When Scripter gets a bit of lifesteal, a bit more attack speed, it's going to be absolutely nutty. We are seeing the teleport come in from Fyrax to the top lane, matching Zolazi. So top laners, no teleport means that any fight that doesn't occur in the top lane for the next little while will be a 4v4 at best. And I do think that actually favors Invulnerables, because Fyrax is still not all that strong just yet.
Yeah, not all that strong, but Zolazi is definitely farming it up as that draws the early ultimate out of Fyrax. Zolazi, I think, heavily winning out in that trade.
As is expected there. And we have to remember, too, that the Maiden's always going to be available for Zolazi if it's not killed. So that ultimate is worth a lot more. And the Divine Judgment cooldown's huge, but a gank into the bot lane.
Yep, and there it is. Scrooty actually gets the hook and pull, and Scripter picks up his first of the game. Scrooty grabs the other, but no matter what, a Vayne got a kill, and you know what that means.
Yeah, once that Vayne starts rolling there, she's just going to run you down. And Noon Quiver, I was talking about that item before the dragon fight. It's great against minions. It's great against, monsters here. Not usually great against champions, but Vayne doesn't need the stats. The attack speed there is worth way more than, attack damage than crit. necessarily for a lot of the other auto attack champions because of those silver bolts, because of the true damage there. Noon Quiver gives Vayne a bit of that early strength, and Boundless did pick up a Sheen, which is great in lane, does a lot of damage, but in these quick, all-ins here, attack speed and Vayne is just stronger than what Boundless can bring to the table. Topside, we did see Fyrax here, full health, completely out of mana though, and is actually looking to maybe just base is going to let the wave shove in, and that makes sense. You don't win that fight, and you are vulnerable to ganks when you're that far out.
Yeah, at this point, it is the don't die game instead of beat your opponent, right? The rest of your lanes are winning. Bottom lane is heavily winning in your favor. That's one of your win conditions. So just don't give gold over to Zalazi. Don't give gold over to Nigerian Star. And your team should be in good standing, which, let's talk about Nigerian Star. For the first time, over the last couple of weeks, especially here, we have seen him not complete an effective gank in the first 11 minutes.
Yeah, that's completely true. Usually, like we said, Nigerian Star is the one to make action happen. I think a lot of this is on Scrudy, on this Zach here. He's been the proactive one. He's not waiting to let Nigerian Star dictate where to go. He's forcing the ganks. He's the one pulling action. 100% KP along with Wigsu here. That seems to be the way to stifle Nigerian Star. Forget about trying to match him. Stifle him with even more aggression. And it's kind of working. And now it is the side of Invulnerables who are starting up this Drake, surprisingly, and they might be able to take it. It's going to be up to Nigerian Star to try a drive-by, but he's so far away right now.
That he is. Cutie throwing down the coaling barrel, taking the brunt of it. Nigerian Star flashes it. He gets a retribution steal on the back end, and this is going to be the turnaround they want. Scrudy deletes Cutie off the map, and the follow-up is there. Another empowered Q only burns a few health bars, and they're just going to keep chasing the bolts, coming out fast and furious, and Boundless going to get chased under tower. Double kill for Scripter as he has turned on the hacks, and the man is on a tear.
Yep, Scripter just got the preseason update on his scripts there, and they are definitely working 3-1 and 4. And like you said, you know what happens when a Vayne starts getting ahead, and we're starting to see it already. No major items completed, and he's running Lagan down.
Oh, Lagan has nothing flash, but an flash auto goes golden, but is going to fall. Shield is up. There it is. Scripter grabs his 4th of the game. Barrel grabs his 7th assist. And my gosh, this game is a complete wrap around as the smite comes through. Scrudy does take that buff, but has to get right out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When the tank starts getting a hit, suddenly that Shyvana, AP Shyvana doesn't look quite as scary there. AP Shyvana's burst is amazing. Sustained damage, not quite so much, especially against like a hyper tank like Zach, who's just going to build straight tanks continuously here. And just right now in Vulnerables, I said that they needed to scale. They want to look for late game, but they don't need it here. They're ahead.
Oh, and this is just a runaway game. Now that's going to be the True Shot Barrage. Barely doing anything. Unstoppable is this Vayne. This one cornerstone that we knew was going to be that all-in gamble. And so far, it has paid off well for the Invulnerables.
Oh, bro, are we sure we got the teams right here? I mean, this is what 3Lane Esports was doing in game 1. They were stomping, and now Invulnerables is kind of just dominating the early game. I'll give Invulnerables credit for this. They're even cleaner than 3Lanes was. Back in game 1 at 13.5 minutes, the gold lead was only about 1,500. Now, we're sitting looking at a 4,000 gold lead, and Cutie just being punished here. That mid lane turret does survive, but it's so low, and that's a bunch of plates going the way of Scrudy here. It's even more gold influx. They're 4,000, 4,500 now, soon to be 5,000 the way they're pressuring.
Yeah, this is just immaculate play as Scrudy is once again here and actually gets flash on. No flash available. Coling only gets about 7 shots out before he falls, and this has been all Scrudy as they're actually just going to tank this up as best they can. Make sure they get the first tower. Make sure they start opening up the map, as that is going to pull them over the 5K mark. And Vulnerables definitely putting on a show here.
Yeah, and there's just been no answer here. Now Jaren's there looking to the bot lane. They have to make this work.
Yeah, but final hour has been popped. Lagan just getting deleted. The root is not going to stop the auto attacks, and Nigerian Star finally gets the turn shutdown. Going in favor of Nigerian Star, he picks up a massive bounty on the head of Scripter.
Just one more auto there would have killed Nigerian Star as well. That is so scary. When you get the 3-man gank, that is the right person you want to send. Nigerian Star is the burst damage, and you still almost trade 2 for 1. That being said, it wasn't a 2 for 1. It was a 1 for 1. They do pick up an absolutely massive 500 gold bounty, and they put it on Nigerian Star. And for the side of 3-Lane Esports right now, if you're looking for someone to start turning the tides, it is going to be Nigerian Star. That is the first successful gank we're seeing coming out from Nigerian Star here. So we'll have to see if he can turn the tides. Does now have that Night Harvester completed, and that is that big item we're looking at to really sort of see Nigerian Star's burst come online. Trinity Forceful Zolazi as well has been doing great in the top lane, the one bright shining spot, but Fyrax is still scaling up as well here, slowly going there. Has the Gnasher's Tooth completed? It might not be a mythic, but like I said, mythic doesn't have to be your first item, and it's still so strong for them.
Fyrax playing around with some of the ghostly children that Zolazi has out, and that immediately summons them to back out. Top lane tower falling to Zolazi, but bottom lane is going to fall to Scripter, so that's going to put it at 2 towers to 1 in favor of Invulnerables. But Loptician is going to find Lagon. Does get rooted down, and Nigerian Star is going to follow through. All the ultimates are used, flashes away, but eats a massive flame shot coming out of Nigerian Star. And Loptician has to walk away just as Dragon is going to appear on the Rift.
But look how they're being zoned out here. The moment Scrudy arrives, suddenly that burst doesn't look quite as impressive against Scrudy as it does against Loptician here. And despite having Loptician low, they actually completely back out of this. They're not even going to try for this Dragon. And it's going to be the Inferno Drake here. So if Scripter wasn't scary enough before, with one Inferno under their belt, it's going to be a lot scarier here. And you're seeing 3Lanes, the lack of confidence. And what scares me the most is that this is not going to be changing anytime soon here. Invulnerables, as I've said before, scales up. So 3Lanes sits back. If they're scared to engage and make plays happen, Invulnerables will just get stronger and stronger. And it's going to be tougher and tougher for 3Lanes to look for an avenue to come back into the game.
And now bottom lane is in their eyes as Zolazi 000 is going to get jumped on. Flash has been used. He's going to walk away as another two-shot barrage just goes out to clear the wave ever so slightly. And the Invulnerables are starting to lay down the pressure. Seeing them making moves, clearing out vision, and making sure that they have the opportunity. Scrudy goes over the wall to again chase out another opponent as they look to try and clear the lanes.
And it just feels like anywhere Scrudy goes, you see everybody from the side of 3Lanes back off. And Cutie opted for that Kraken Slayer here to take down Scrudy. And I have mixed feelings about this because the counter to true damage is straight health. And Zach likes to build straight health. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a Warmogs coming out. Maybe not second item because we do see the Warden's Mill instead here. But, third item Warmogs on Zach would not be surprising at all. And that will counter a lot of that damage from the Kraken Slayer. Lucian is able to proc it fairly quickly though, and it does work great against squishy targets. So I am looking at Cutie to try and, shred down some of these other targets. But again, can they get past Scrudy, and can they survive Scripter, who now has the Rage Bait completed? Went second item on that Rage Bait because Immortal Shield Bow means that Scripter, who's doing so well, 6, 2, and 4, is going to be even harder to kill. And if you can't kill Scripter, you've got problems.
Yeah, but if you can't carry Nigerian Star, the Dragon gets away. Stealing away a couple camps means that he is all right. But gets spotted out with the red trinket, and they're going to follow, but Scripter and Wixu are going to get chopped up through the Mystic shots, and that's going to be the Culling dropping barrel extremely low, but Scripter just flashes forward. He doesn't care. Another auto attack cleans up the bottom lane. It is now Boundless and Lagon's turn to figure out how to play against this. In goes the Cell Division as no one has dropped so far, and Scripter is here to clean it up. Doesn't get the kill though, as the Condemned doesn't get the kill, but Cutie is running for his life. Might not get away as another speed up and the red buff will be applied. One more shot does it, as all of a sudden, once again, Scripter fell once, immediately gets a 400 gold bounty back.
You know, Orbital, in the preseason, people were complaining that damage has creeped up, that fights are so, once it's so quick, people just get deleted. I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't really felt that way because of the way the tanks have been going. But this game, I understand that complaint because the damage coming up from both teams is absolutely obscene here. Nigerians are almost, two-shotting Scripter and Wixu, but Scripter surviving that, going on that massive tear there, just shredding everyone. Cutie and Boundless, what Scripter did to that was just not okay. There needs to be a not safe for work warning on this particular game here because just the damage is incredible. And for the top laners right now, Fyrax, Solazi, they're on an island. And normally top laners complain about, we don't get to play the game. I'm pretty sure Solazi right now is very happy he's not joining the rest of the team because he's got the best KDA by a long shot right there.
it hurts to say that, but it hurts even more that it's true. Right? The top laners have literally been non-existent. They've been power farming all the way through 224 farm on Zolazi. And honestly, with that being said, at 0-0-0, he currently is still sitting with the most gold for his team. Second highest, actually, in the game to Scripter. Right? Scripter sitting at 10.2, and the next highest is Zolazi. So, I mean, if anyone's going to make a difference here, it has to be Zolazi. And if anyone's going to turn that advantage in favor of Invulnerables at this upcoming Dragon, it's going to be Fyrax. Boundless, though, getting caught in this mid lane. However, there are no minions, so he's going to get away by only taking a little bit of damage.
Yeah, and I mean, for the side of 3 Lane Esports right now, your position's not ideal. Zolazi being able to handle Fyrax normally, that's great. That's the position you want to be in. He's up a ton of CS, he's up a bunch of pressure. But the problem right now is the rest of your team is losing 4v4 so heavily that the kill score is 16-2. So Zolazi needs to respond to that. But if he does, Fyrax scales. So they're caught in a bit of a catch-22 right now where they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. And they're actually sneaking the Baron. I love this play. No vision from Invulnerables. This was a lapse on their part here. They don't know it's being done. And, for all that people talk about Sunfire, Demonic Embrace, that's not the only way to sneak a Baron here. You can still do it with the other picks. And they're trading a Dragon for Baron without knowing it.
Down it goes. Immediately the pings. You saw it go down at the last second. Hey, we haven't seen him for about 20 seconds. I think they're taking it. And they get it. Just, it's very small compensation. Again, it's what I lovingly call a stall Baron. But it's going to help a little bit. Right? It's going to help slow the loss of gold just a little bit more. So we'll see if that's enough to start turning this game around for 3Lane Esports.
Yeah, and with these sort of stall Barons here, one of the things that you need to do is you actually need to shove out the lanes with the stall Baron. Nigerians are ulting?
I think he did that just for the damage because normally you can vault over that pretty easily. So I definitely think that was just to get the form out, just to start throwing out the heavy-duty fireballs. It still looked funny on the screen, though.
Yeah, and my question now is it going to be worth it? Because that means it's not going to be, well, I guess it will be available for the next fight. So not that big a deal. I guess they can continue to blitz it here. And now they're going to look for Fyrax.
Yeah, Boundless, though, gets caught extremely easily. And just the knockups mean he is going to fall. Boundless gets caught with his pants down. And he is going to fall for his 6th death of the game. That is going to be the Rift Herald summon in that mid lane. Going to take it down. They're going to try and break the base here as everyone on the side of 3 lanes is scrambling to get back to base.
And you know what, Orbital? Just, last game we had, somebody who was 161 at roughly this point in the game. And actually, I'm going to stop here because it looks like they're forcing this here. No, they will back off. So I think we're fine for now.
Yeah, but top lane falls. That's going to be another tower falling. That's going to be the sweeper actually finding it. Or not the sweeper, the scrying orb. Scrooby has to jump away. Again, Nigerians are throwing out those fireballs. Actually doing a little bit of damage, but it's only hitting the tank. Scripter actually dancing. Says he wants to fight this. I'm not sure if he wants to because no one else is there. But Ingo Scrooby sectioning him all the way off. And Scripter just says thank you. Gets the ultimate from the kill as well. Gets the final bolt over the wall and is looking for the pen skill. He says he wants it. He gets the triple. Flashes out, is cute, but Boundless gets over the wall with the arcane shift. But they follow up. The quadra kill is there. He wants it so bad. Is he going to get one more auto attack? Might get it. He doesn't have vision. He wants it so bad. He's going. No, is he going to get it? Boundless doesn't want to give it to him. It's still up. He's dancing. One more auto attack is going to do it. Pentakill for Scripter in the 24.5 minutes of this game. He gets a pentakill. He has been the star of this game, and that is going to be Invulnerables showing off an ace.
And overall, I said I want to see a pentakill. We have not really seen him. I'm so excited we get to see it, and it is on this vein. Scripter 16-2 and 4. The man is just popping off here. Just absolutely crushing everyone. And I want to point out that last game at this time, it was Scripter who was, I believe, 0-6 or 0-5 at this point. And this time, what a turnaround. 16-2 and 4. Step aside, Nigerian star. You only got a quadra last week. It's Scripter in the house with a penta this week.
And the best part, right? And I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but the best part to this all, you know, is the fact that it was a runaway penta, right? Scripter literally ran around the Krugs, ran all the way around in his final hour, chased down Nigerian star, got a kill, got the invulnerable aspect from Kale, and then ran all the way back to his red buff to pick up the other 3. That was a cross jungle fight, and I'm absolutely living for it. Scripter and the rest of his team getting one of the highlight plays of the week.
Yeah, 100%, man. If we had highlight reels, that needs to go on it. And that's really bad for the side of 3Lanes. Wicks are getting caught.
Yeah, but he gets the ultimate as well. And the support is getting in on the action. Barrel at 3-0-18. This man does not go down. Up goes the wall from Zolazi as he is now in a very bad pinch on the wrong side of the map. Flash forward onto Lagon. And Firex just says, cool, I'm playing now, by the way.
He's not even 16 yet.
He's not, but Scripter says, all right, I'll eat that damage. Is going to keep following up. Actually has to dodge off to the side, knows that another fireball is coming, and that is going to be another kill. He's just going to keep going. That's under the tower. Zolazi taking 3 tower shots. He gets a double kill all the way on the backside to Scripter. Now up to 18-2 and 4, and Ace coming out as Loptician gets the command dissonance, and that is going to be game number 2 going in favor of Invulnerables. They say game number 1, yes, we lost. Game number 2, we're showing up. Massive turnaround in this series will bring this head-to-head to a tie.
And, you know, it's 27-2. The gold leads 12K. I think this is what the most one-sided games we've seen. And you would not have expected this after game 1. Whatever the coach of Invulnerables did during that break time, they asked for a bit of time. And whatever